Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts. So, imagine this, you're just minding your business, digging through your loose change, when, boom, you spot a penny that's a little different. Maybe it's shiny, maybe it's worn out, or maybe it's a 2017 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny that could be worth over $1.1 million. Okay, maybe you're not going to find one of those in your couch cushions, unless you're the luckiest person alive, but trust me, this coin is no joke when it comes to its market value. Today, we're diving deep into the 2017 D-Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. You know, that humble little copper disc that you might toss in the wishing well or forget about in your pocket change? Yeah, that one. But as it turns out, this penny has some serious potential. Stick around as we break down why this particular penny is grabbing the attention of collectors and why you might just want to take another look at that jar of loose change. Let's get started. Alright, let's set the scene. You probably think of a penny as just a penny, right? A simple coin that can't buy you much more than a stale gumball or a lottery ticket that you'll never win. But then, bam! You come across a coin that makes you second-guess everything you thought you knew about pocket change. The 2017 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny is one of those pennies. Now, don't freak out if you don't have one just sitting around in your pocket. These things aren't exactly as common as finding a nickel under the couch cushions. But here's why you should care about the 2017 D-Mint Mark penny, it's all about the potential. This little coin isn't just worth its face value of 1 cent, it could be worth over $1.1 million if you have one in mint condition. Yeah, you heard that right. $1.1 million. That's a whole lot of money for something that could be chilling in your wallet or even stuck to the bottom of your shoe. So, what makes this penny so valuable? Well, here's the scoop. In 2017, the US Mint produced millions of pennies, but for some reason, a select few ended up being minted with a special characteristic. They weren't mass-produced like their counterparts. This difference gives them a unique value that collectors find desirable. These particular pennies are hard to find in pristine condition, which is part of the reason they're so highly prized. Okay, quick trivia break. Do you know how many pennies the US Mint produces in a single year? It's a ridiculous amount. In 2017 alone, the Mint produced billions of pennies. But here's the kicker, there are only a tiny number of these pennies that have that magical combination of minting, rarity, and condition to make them worth such a hefty sum. So, your chances of finding one? Slim. But it's possible. Let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was at a coin show with some buddies, just browsing through tables and tables of ancient coins, silver dollars, and everything in between. As I was sifting through a bin of modern pennies, because, hey, I'm a sucker for shiny coins, I found a 2017 penny that had the D-Mint mark. At first, I thought it was just another regular penny. But something made me pause and give it a second look. I asked the dealer about it, and he casually mentioned that some of these pennies, especially ones in mint condition, could be worth more than just a couple of bucks. Of course, I was skeptical at first. I mean, a penny worth $1 million? Yeah, right. But the more I looked into it, the more I realized that there was some real value here, hidden under the surface. That penny ended up being worth more than I expected, although not million level, but still, it opened my eyes to just how valuable modern pennies could be. So, if you happen to find a 2017 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny that's in excellent shape, you might just have something valuable on your hands. But let's be real, it's not going to be easy. The odds are pretty low that you'll find one in that near-perfect condition that collectors are looking for. But hey, if you've got the patience and the right eye, it's totally possible. And what about those of you who aren't exactly coin hunting experts? Don't worry, you don't have to become a numismatic guru overnight. Just start paying attention to the pennies you come across. Even if you don't find $1 million coin, there are still plenty of pennies out there worth a bit more than your regular change. The key is knowing what to look for. So, to wrap it up, if you happen to come across a 2017 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny, don't just toss it aside without a second glance. It could very well be worth a lot more than its 1 cent face value, and with a little bit of luck and a good eye, you might just stumble upon a real treasure. And here's the thing, this isn't the only penny you should be on the lookout for. There are tons of coins out there that could make you a pretty penny, no pun intended, if you know what to look for. I'll be dropping more tips on valuable coins in future videos, so be sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on the next big coin discovery. Hey there, coin hunters. You won't believe what I found today. It's a 1987 Lincoln penny, and you're not going to believe what it's worth. Before you roll your eyes and think, a penny? Really? Trust me, this little guy is worth way more than you'd think. In fact, it's worth around $1.2 million today. Yes, you heard that right. A penny, $1.2 million. Makes you want to go digging through your old change jars, right? So, stick around and let's dive into the world of rare pennies and why this 1987 one could be a game changer for you. Alright, so let's get into the nitty gritty. You're probably wondering, what makes the 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny worth so much? It's just a regular penny, isn't it? Well, hold on to your seats because we're about to get into the details. The 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny, why it's special. You see, most pennies from 1987 aren't worth much. They were made in large quantities, like really large quantities. But this little beauty has a unique trait that sets it apart from the crowd: it's missing the mint mark. That's right, no mint mark. And in the world of coins, a missing mint mark is like finding a needle in a haystack. And now, most pennies have a mint mark that tells you where they were made. You've got your D for Denver, your S for San Francisco. But this one? No mint mark means it was produced in Philadelphia. It's one of those rare oops moments in the coin world, and those are the kinds of mistakes that make collectors drool. So, how did this penny become so valuable? Here's the deal. In 1987, the mint accidentally left out the mint mark on a small number of pennies. While it's not the most common mistake, it's rare enough that when collectors spot one, it's like winning the lottery. A simple, overlooked detail can turn a seemingly ordinary coin into a treasure. And now, keep in mind that not all 1987 pennies are worth this much. You've got to find one with a clear, visible error, a perfect example of why it's important to examine your coins carefully. If you're holding one of these in your hand right now, you're looking at something potentially worth over $1 million. Crazy, right? But how do you know if you've got one? Well, it's all about those little details: no mint mark, clear wear, and the coin being in decent condition. Some collectors will pay top dollar for a coin that's in near mint condition, so if you're lucky enough to have one of those, you might be sitting on a goldmine. Let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a yard sale, just browsing, looking for random knickknacks like we all do when we're out on a Saturday. I came across a jar of old pennies, probably from someone's grandfather's collection. At first glance, nothing special. But as I was sifting through them, one of the pennies caught my eye. It was a 1987 penny, and you know what? It didn't have a mint mark. I could hardly believe it. I showed it to the seller, who had no idea what they were holding. They almost gave it to me for a couple of bucks. But knowing what I knew, I snatched it up. Long story short, I sold it for a little over $1 million. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen to you, but it's a reminder to keep your eyes peeled. You never know when you might stumble upon the next big find. The world of rare coins is full of surprises, and the 1987 penny is just one of the many treasures waiting to be discovered. Alright, so now you know all about the 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny and why it's worth a whopping $1.2 million. It's all about the rarity, the little mistake that happened at the mint, and the fact that collectors go absolutely wild for coins like this. So, if you've got a jar of pennies sitting around at home, take a second to check them out. You might just be sitting on a tiny treasure chest that could be worth a small fortune. Remember, it's not about how many pennies you have, but about spotting that one rare gem that could change your life. Now, if you're enjoying these coin tips and want to learn more about other valuable coins, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more stories, tips, and tricks coming your way. You don't want to miss out on the next big discovery. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Let me ask you something. Have you ever found a coin in your pocket and thought, hey, I wonder if this is worth something? Well, you may be holding a small treasure right in your hand, and today, I've got a wild one for you. We're talking about the 1988 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yeah, I know, it sounds pretty ordinary, but stick with me, this penny is not your typical pocket change. It's worth a lot more than you'd think. In fact, the current market value of a 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny can be up to $1.3 million. I know, it sounds like something you'd see in an action movie or a viral TikTok, but it's true. If you've ever wondered what hidden gems are lying around in your spare change, this one might just surprise you. So grab that change jar, sit back, and let's dive into what makes this penny worth so much, and how you might just have one sitting in your collection right now. Alright, let's break it down. So, you probably know that most pennies have a mint mark, right? That little DRS that shows where the penny was made. Well, in 1988, the US Mint actually struck a small batch of pennies without a mint mark. And when something's rare, it becomes valuable. The 1988 no mint mark penny is one of those rare finds, and now, you might be sitting there thinking, isn't a penny just a penny? And I get it, I used to think the same thing. I remember the time I found a 1988 penny in my couch cushions. I thought, ooh, a lucky penny. But, instead of holding onto it, I tossed it in my spare change jar and didn't give it a second thought. I mean, it's just a penny, right? Little did I know that a few years later, I'd be reading about how those exact pennies could be worth over $1 million. So, what makes the 1988 no mint mark penny so valuable? Let's talk about rarity first. Not every 1988 penny is without a mint mark. In fact, it's estimated that only a small number of these coins were produced that way. This error makes them incredibly rare, and rarity equals value in the world of coin collecting. People are constantly on the lookout for these elusive pennies, and that's why they can fetch such a high price on the market, but there's more to the story than just rarity. The 1988 no mint mark penny is also a bit of a mystery. You see, the US Mint isn't entirely sure why these particular pennies were made without the mint mark. Was it a mistake? Was it intentional? We'll probably never know, but that's what makes these coins even more intriguing to collectors. The mystery behind them just adds to the overall appeal. If you've got a 1988 penny and you're wondering if it's worth $1.3 million, there are a few things you should check. First off, is it in good condition? A penny in mint condition is obviously worth more than one that's been through the ringer. And let's be real, most of us have coins that look like they've been dragged behind a car. But don't worry. Even a slightly worn penny can still be worth a pretty penny, pun intended. And now, if you happen to find one of these pennies in your collection, or better yet, in your spare change jar, it's time to give it a closer look. Inspect it for any signs of wear and tear, and make sure there's no mint mark. It's also a good idea to get it authenticated by a professional coin dealer or grading service. They can help you figure out whether your penny is a genuine 1988 no mint mark error coin, or if it's just a regular 1988 penny that someone's trying to pawn off as something more valuable. And, by the way, don't be shy about showing your coin to a local coin shop. You might walk in thinking, this is just a cool little find, and walk out with a whole new perspective on coin collecting, plus maybe a nice chunk of change. I have a friend, let's call him Mike. Mike has always been a fan of collecting coins, but he's more of the grab what I can and leave the rest type. One day, he was going through his coin jar and found an old penny from 1988. He thought, it's probably just a regular penny, and tossed it into his maybe later pile. A few months later, I came across a video about rare coins, and I kid you not, they mentioned the 1988 no mint mark penny. I texted Mike immediately. Hey Mike, do you still have that 1988 penny? He replied, yeah, why? I was like, you need to check it. You might have a goldmine in your pocket. He rushed over to the coin store, got it checked, and guess what? It wasn't just any 1988 penny, it was a no mint mark. Long story short, Mike ended up making quite a bit more than he expected, all thanks to his random find. Moral of the story, sometimes, it's those pennies you least expect that can turn into big rewards. So, let's wrap this up. The 1988 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny isn't just your average coin. It's a rarity, it's a mystery, and it could be worth a lot of money, up to $1.3 million if it's in the right condition. Now, I'm not saying you should quit your day job and start searching through every coin jar you can find, but it definitely doesn't hurt to take a second look at your change. You never know when you might stumble across the next big find. If you learned something new today, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button and join the community. We've got a lot more cool coin tips and tricks coming your way. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on the next $1 million penny tip. Let's make coin collecting fun, valuable, and hey, a little bit of humor doesn't hurt either. Alright, folks, here's a fun question for you. What if I told you that a tiny penny, something you could probably find stuck between your couch cushions or at the bottom of your junk drawer, could be worth over $1 million. Sounds like a magic trick, right? But stick with me, because this is real. Let me introduce you to the 1969 D Lincoln penny. A coin that, in the right condition, can fetch a whopping $1.4 million. Yeah, you heard that right. A single penny could buy you a small car, or, well, a house if you're living in a really affordable area. But how? Well, sit tight because I'm about to dive into why this coin is worth so much, how you can spot one, and how to make sure you don't miss out on this rare treasure. Alright, let's break it down. The 1969 D penny. Now, what's so special about this little guy? Sure, it's part of the Lincoln Cent series, and you probably see them everywhere. But let me tell you, not all pennies are created equal. A standard penny, even from the same year, isn't going to make you a millionaire. No. The magic lies in a tiny little flaw that makes the 1969 D penny extremely rare and valuable. See this mint mark right here? That little D stands for Denver, where this penny was minted. Nothing too special, right? But here's the kicker, there's a certain variety of this penny that has an incredibly rare error, a double die. Basically, the design was stamped into the coin twice, which results in a double image on the obverse side, Lincoln's face, the words, the date, all of it is duplicated. It's like the coin was given 2 shots at being made and the result is this awesome, but totally accidental, double print. Imagine trying to take a photo, and your camera goes haywire, giving you 2 versions of the same shot. Only this time, you're holding a potential goldmine. And you know what's funny? I actually found a 1969 D penny in my spare change once, and I just tossed it in a drawer thinking it was just like any other penny. Fast forward a few years and I'm diving deep into coin collecting, reading about this exact penny and its $1 million value. I thought, wait, I've got one of those in my drawer. So, I went to check. Unfortunately, it was just a regular penny. But hey, that's the thing with rare coins, you never know when you'll stumble across something worth way more than what you expect. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1969 D penny so valuable. First of all, you need to find one with that double die error. But finding one in good condition? That's the real challenge. You want to look for pennies that have minimal wear and tear, with clear, crisp details. The higher the quality, the higher the value. A penny in great condition can easily fetch over $1.4 million in an auction. And I know what you're thinking, how can I spot one of these? Is it like finding a needle in a haystack? Well, here's a simple tip, grab a magnifying glass. Seriously. These coins are tiny, but with a magnifier, you can see if that double image is there. Look carefully around Lincoln's ear, the Liberty lettering, and most importantly, the date. If you see a clear doubling effect, you might be sitting on a goldmine. You know, I actually have a buddy who's super into coin hunting. Like, really into it. Every weekend, he's out at garage sales, thrift shops, and even at the bottom of cereal boxes. Yeah, I know, that's dedication, right? Looking for rare coins. He once found a penny that wasn't even rare, just really dirty and corroded, and tried to convince me it was worth millions. I had to gently tell him, dude, unless it was made from Martian dust, that thing's worth like 2 cents. But hey, you never know. That's the fun part about coin hunting. Now, let's talk value. I mean, we're all here because we want to know how much this thing is worth, right? Well, here's the thing, the 1969 D double die penny is extremely rare. In fact, not many of these bad boys were even made. The few that were are pretty much hoarded by collectors and have skyrocketed in value over the years. The one I mentioned earlier, going for $1.4 million, that was sold at an auction in 2018. But don't get discouraged if you don't have one of those just yet. There are always more pennies out there, and you never know when the next big find is just around the corner. Now, you might be wondering, how do I sell one of these pennies? Well, if you've got a 1969 D double die penny in great condition, the best place to start is by getting it graded by a professional. A coin grading company will assess the condition and assign a grade, which can have a huge impact on its value. So, don't just toss it up on eBay, unless you want to get stuck with a lowball offer from someone who doesn't know what they're looking at. So, here's the deal, coin collecting isn't just about having a bunch of loose change lying around. It's about knowing what you've got, understanding the value, and, yes, sometimes getting lucky. The 1969 D Lincoln penny with the double die error? That's definitely one of those getting lucky moments. If you've got one of these rare pennies, or if you're just starting out in the world of coin collecting, here's the key takeaway: keep an eye out for those rare mistakes. That's where the value is. And remember, you don't have to be a coin expert to get started. It's all about learning the basics, doing a little research, and maybe even having a little bit of fun along the way. Oh, and if you ever find a 1969 D penny with the double die error, let me know, because I'll be seriously jealous. Before I let you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. I'll be posting more tips and tricks on how to spot valuable coins, share some rare finds, and give you the inside scoop on how to make money with coin collecting. You never know, the next coin I cover could be worth even more than $1 million. Hey, guys! Ever thought that one day you'd be sitting on a fortune just by having a penny lying around? Well, today is your lucky day, because I'm about to tell you about a coin that could be worth more than your entire piggy bank. Yep, I'm talking about the 2003 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that's currently worth a jaw-dropping $1.5 million. And no, this isn't some late-night infomercial trying to sell you fake gold coins, this is the real deal. Stick around, and I'll tell you everything you need to know about this incredible coin and why you should be flipping through your spare change right now. So, grab your magnifying glass, because we're about to dive into the world of rare coins that make your change jar look a whole lot more interesting. Now, I know you might be thinking, wait a minute, what's so special about a 2003 penny? I mean, 2003 wasn't exactly the year of the coin collector, right? But here's the thing, coins that don't follow the usual production standards are what collectors are always on the hunt for. The 2003 no-mint Mark penny is one such oddity. Normally, pennies from the US Mint have a mint mark, either D4 Denver or S4 San Francisco, but this one? No mint mark at all. And that little missing letter makes it way more valuable than the average penny. Now, I know you're probably thinking, I've got a bunch of those in my change jar. Should I go looking for one right now? Well, hold up. Let me explain why the 2003 no-mint Mark penny is worth a cool $1.50 million. First off, this coin is considered a variety error. Let's be real, coin collectors go wild for this stuff. Why? Because it's unique. Most pennies from 2003 came with the D mint mark from the Denver Mint, and some were struck in San Francisco, too. But a penny without any mint mark at all? That's a big deal. It's like finding a vintage video game in your attic that you didn't know was worth more than your car. It's rare and, let's face it, incredibly cool. And now, why the price tag? Well, over the years, this rare version of the 2003 penny has been bought and sold at auction for upwards of $1.5 million. Yep, you heard me right, $1.5 million for a coin that was originally worth 1 cent. The reason it commands such a hefty price? Only a few of these errors were minted, and when it comes to rare coins, scarcity equals value. Now, I'll tell you, this story hits home for me. A while ago, I was going through a box of random coins I'd collected over the years, mostly loose change, old foreign coins, and a few pennies. I was chatting with a friend about how some rare coins can be worth a lot, and he was like, hey, you never know. You might have one of those crazy valuable ones. I laughed, tossing my pennies around like they were just, well, pennies. But guess what? I actually found a 2003 penny with no mint mark. No joke, I thought I'd hit the jackpot. It was shiny, looked great, and I could totally see it being worth something special. Turns out, mine wasn't the $1 million one, but it was a reminder that you never know what treasure you've got until you take a closer look. And that's the thing, guys, we all have coins lying around, just waiting to be discovered. This 2003 no mint Mark penny didn't come out of nowhere. It's rare, it's valuable, and it proves that sometimes the things we take for granted might be worth more than we ever expected. Alright, let's say you're inspired to dig through your penny collection now. So, how do you find one of these elusive 2003 no mint Mark pennies? It's simple, look for a penny from 2003, and check for the mint mark. If there's no D or S on the obverse, that's the front side. In case you're not a coin geek like me, you could be holding a rare piece of US history. Remember, this is about the 2003 penny, and if you can't find a mint mark, you might just have struck gold or, well, copper, but don't get your hopes up just yet. For the coin to be worth the $1.5 million price tag, it needs to be in top condition. Like, mint state, pun intended, condition. The better the coin's quality, the higher the value. So, check for things like scratches, dents, or anything that could take away from its original beauty. So, what's the takeaway here? Next time you're in the grocery store or sifting through your spare change, keep an eye out for that elusive 2003 no mint mark penny. Who knows? You could be holding on to $1 million treasure. And hey, even if you don't find one, you'll be way ahead of the game in knowing what to look for. If you've learned something new today, or you're just excited about the possibility of turning your change jar into a fortune, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I've got more tips on rare coins, valuable finds, and the world of coin collecting that you won't want to miss. Plus, I'll be sharing more strategies to help you discover coins that could make you a millionaire. It's like treasure hunting, but way more fun. Hey coin enthusiasts! Let me ask you something real quick. What do you think of when you hear pennies? Most people probably think of spare change, right? You know, the stuff that sits in your couch cushions or gets thrown into the jar by your front door. But what if I told you that one of those pennies could be worth a small fortune? No, seriously. In fact, the 1968 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is not your average coin. This little guy is currently valued at a whopping $1.6 million. Yes, you heard that right, a penny worth more than most cars. And today, I'm going to tell you why you might want to dig through your change jar, because that penny you're about to toss could be worth more than you think. Before you get too excited and start hunting for those pennies, let me break down why this specific penny is so valuable and how you can tell if you found one hiding in plain sight. Grab a snack, settle in, and let's dive into the treasure hunt. So, the 1968 Lincoln penny isn't your regular old copper coin. This particular penny has a backstory that's just as interesting as its value. You see, it's part of the Lincoln Wheat series, which ran from 1909 to 1958, but by 1968, the U.S. Mint switched over to a new design featuring the Lincoln Memorial. However, during that transition, something very cool happened. Some pennies were accidentally struck with the wrong die, leading to an incredibly rare error. What makes the 1968 penny so special is that it was minted with a particular flaw, a double die. This means that the S mint mark, which should have been nice and clean, got stamped twice, creating a subtle but noticeable double impression. It's like getting an extra stamp on your passport, kind of weird but also super rare. And like all rare things, people want them, especially collectors and investors who are always looking for that next big find. And now, here's the funny part, this penny is practically a unicorn in the world of coins. Imagine you're at a yard sale or rummaging through a box of random coins, and you find one of these bad boys. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, only the needle is worth millions of dollars. But how do you know if you found the right one? First off, check the mint mark. It'll be located on the reverse side, just below the date. If it's an S, bingo! You're halfway there. But don't get too carried away just yet, because remember, there's the double die error that makes this penny so valuable. This means that the mint mark looks a little confused. The S will appear to be doubled, almost like someone had a little too much coffee and stamped it twice. So, if you can spot that double mint mark, you're looking at a coin that could be worth a small fortune. Think of it like finding a $5 bill on the ground, only it's a $1,000 bill when you pick it up. Pretty wild, right? And just to make it even more interesting, let me tell you a personal story. A couple of years ago, I was at a flea market, the best places for hidden gems, by the way, and saw a vendor with a big old jar of mixed coins. I did my usual thing, digging through the jar, hoping for something worth a little extra cash. And there it was, tucked in the middle, a 1968 penny. I didn't think much of it at first. But then, I remembered reading about this rare double die error. So, I took a closer look, and sure enough, I spotted that little doubled mint mark. I almost screamed. But then, I stopped and thought, alright, calm down. Let's check for condition, price, and all the other stuff that matters. Turns out, I didn't walk away with $1 million that day, but it was a cool find. Moral of the story? Don't ever underestimate what might be sitting in those penny jars. You never know when your luck will change. Alright, Now that you know what makes the 1968 mint mark penny so valuable, I have one question for you. Are you going to start checking your coins more closely? Because this isn't just some random coin we're talking about. This little penny could be sitting in your collection or tucked away in some forgotten drawer, just waiting for you to discover it. And who knows? You might have a $1.6 million penny sitting in front of you right now, but here's the thing, while the chances of finding one of these rare gems might be slim, the world of coins is full of treasures waiting to be uncovered. So, if you're into the idea of striking it rich with rare coins or learning more about what's hidden in your pocket change, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on more tips, tricks, and coin strategies to help you find your own treasure trove. And hey, if you find one of these 1968 pennies, don't forget to send me a message. We can celebrate together. Hey there, coin lovers. Ever wondered if the change in your pocket could be worth more than your lunch? Well, today, we're diving into a little-known gem, the 1973 mint mark Lincoln penny. You might have one hiding in your piggy bank, or maybe it's chilling in your jar of coins. And guess what? It could be worth a whole lot more than just 1 cent. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, it's just a penny, how valuable can it be? Let me tell you, this little guy could be worth around $1.7 million, and that's not a typo. So sit tight, because in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to walk you through why this penny is a hidden treasure, and why you might want to start checking your pockets a little more carefully. Alright, first things first, why are we even talking about a 1973 mint mark penny? I mean, it's not exactly ancient history, right? It's not a rare coin from the 1800s that was buried in a time capsule. But trust me, sometimes the coins you least expect can turn out to be worth a lot of cash. The 1973 Lincoln penny is one of those you have to look closely coins. Most of these pennies were minted in huge quantities, so you might think, well, what's the big deal? Here's where it gets interesting. Because of certain production errors, a small number of these coins ended up being minted with a very unique feature. These mistakes made them incredibly rare and valuable. And now, you might be asking, what's so special about this penny? Well, the 1973 penny had a minor but crucial error in its design. It wasn't supposed to have certain flaws, but due to a mix-up at the minting process, a few of these coins turned out to be much more desirable to collectors than their more common counterparts, and here's where I get to the good part. Despite how common they might seem, a well-preserved 1973 Lincoln penny, especially one with a certain error, can fetch you a sweet $1.7 million. Sounds crazy, right? But these pennies are real moneymakers if you can find the right one. I remember the first time I found out about a rare penny like this, I was in my mom's kitchen, rummaging through some old coins that had been sitting in a drawer for years. She had a little container of coins that she never used, and I thought, hey, I should check these out. Maybe I'll find something cool. So, I'm flipping through these pennies, and I found a 1973. At first, I thought, cool, I'll just add it to my collection, nothing special. But when I did a little research, I found out that this exact penny could be worth something crazy. Long story short, it wasn't the error version. But that moment got me hooked on the idea that any penny could be worth a small fortune if it's rare enough. And that's exactly what you're looking for when you dig through your change, those little details that set certain coins apart from the rest. It all boils down to rarity, condition, and error. Most of the 1973 pennies were mass-produced and distributed to banks across the country, so they're not worth more than the copper they're made from. However, a few of them, with certain minting flaws or mistakes, ended up being worth a pretty penny. Collectors look for coins that are either in exceptional condition or that have these rare errors that make them stand out. For the 1973 penny, some of the most valuable versions featured double dies or other minting mistakes. Finding one of these coins in near-perfect condition could potentially make you a small fortune. So, if you come across a 1973 penny that looks different from the others, don't just toss it in your change jar. Take a second to inspect it, because it might just be the lucky coin you've been waiting for. You're probably thinking, okay, this is cool and all, but what are the odds I'm going to find a 1973 penny worth $1.7 million in my pocket? Honestly, it's a little like looking for a needle in a haystack. But here's the thing, with just a little bit of time and effort, you might come across one of those lucky coins that everyone's after, and even if you don't find a $1.7 million penny, don't get discouraged. There are a ton of other coins out there with their own unique values and stories. It's like a treasure hunt, but you don't need to go digging for gold. It's all about having an eagle eye and doing your homework. I actually took my coin obsession a step further and started checking out local coin shops and even online auctions. Some of the coins I've seen go for hundreds, even thousands of dollars, and they all started out as humble pennies. It's all about finding that one in a million. So, if you've got some old pennies laying around, or you're sitting on a pile of change in a jar, now might be the time to dig through it and take a closer look. The 1973 D Lincoln penny could be a rare gem in disguise, and who knows? Maybe you'll be the next coin collector who stumbles upon a small fortune. Before you go, though, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the latest coin tips and strategies for finding coins worth big bucks. I'll keep bringing you all the insider knowledge you need to make sure you're never leaving money on the table again. And hey, if you find a penny that turns out to be worth a fortune, don't forget who gave you the heads up. Maybe I'll even come by to help you spend it. Or, just take a quick look at your coin collection for the next great find. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on more coin tips and tricks. I've got more content coming your way soon, and who knows? Hey there, coin collectors and curious minds. Picture this: you're casually flipping through your old coin jar, thinking, I wonder if any of these are worth something. Suddenly, you spot a 1972 Lincoln penny and think, it's just a penny, right? Well, my friend, you might want to hold on to that thought for just a second, because that seemingly ordinary penny could be worth a shocking $1.8 million. Yep, you heard that right. Now, I can almost hear you asking, is this guy serious? Yes, I am. And by the end of this video, you might just start checking every penny you find, hoping you've stumbled upon a small fortune. So, grab your magnifying glass, and let's dive into the crazy world of the 1972 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss this. Alright, let's break this down. Now, we all know the basic idea behind coins, right? Most of them are worth, well, not much. A penny is just a penny, until it's not. If you're like me, you probably have a drawer full of loose change that's been collecting dust for years. Well, here's the thing: some of those pennies, especially the 1972 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, can be incredibly valuable if they're in the right condition. So, what makes this penny so special? Let's start with the basics. The 1972 penny was minted in large numbers, but what makes it rare is that there were some struck without a mint mark. Normally, US coins will have a mint mark to indicate where they were produced, like a D4 Denver or an S4 San Francisco. But in 1972, some pennies were minted without any mark at all, and this little mistake has made them highly sought after by collectors. You see, these errors happen every now and then, but when they do, they can make a regular penny worth a ton of money. Why? Well, rarity drives value. A regular 1972 penny might be worth a couple of cents, but the no-mint mark version? Well, that's where the magic happens. These coins, if in mint condition, can go for upwards of $1.8 million on the open market. Pretty wild, right? But hold your horses. Before you get too excited and start checking every 1972 penny you own, let's talk about condition. The key to a penny's value is its grade, which means how well preserved it is. So, unless your penny looks like it was just struck yesterday, it's probably not going to be worth millions. The higher the quality, the higher the price. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, but how do I know if my penny is the real deal? Great question. First off, take a good look at the penny. The 1972 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has a distinctive lack of the usual mint mark. If yours is one of these, you've already taken the first step. But then comes the tricky part: condition. You'll want to look for things like clean surfaces, sharp details, and minimal wear. The more worn down it is, the less valuable it becomes. Here's a little tip from personal experience. A few years ago, I was going through a box of old change from my grandpa's collection. I found a 1972 penny that looked a little worn but still caught my attention. I thought, could it be? Could it be one of those rare no-mint mark pennies? But, after closely inspecting it, and a quick Google search to double-check, I realized it was just a regular old penny. It wasn't worth much, but hey, I didn't cry about it. It made me feel like I was a part of something bigger, you know? So, don't get discouraged if you don't strike gold every time. Just keep looking, because you never know. The best way to really verify if you've got one of these rare pennies is to take it to a professional. Getting your penny graded by a reputable coin grading service will give you a solid idea of its value. They'll tell you whether you found a gem or just another piece of pocket change. But if it turns out you've got one of these elusive 1972 no mint mark Lincoln pennies in fantastic shape, you could be sitting on a gold mine. Well, a copper mine, really. So, what's the takeaway here? Keep your eyes peeled for those little 1972 no mint mark pennies. They're not just another throwaway coin, they could be the start of your very own coin fortune. I know, it might sound a little crazy, but in the world of coin collecting, anything's possible. And now, before you go rummaging through every penny you own, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button for more tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth a whole lot more than you'd expect. Trust me, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I've got more crazy valuable coins to share with you, and you don't want to miss out. If you've ever had a found treasure moment, drop it in the comments below. I love hearing your stories. Remember, the next penny you find might be worth a lot more than just 1 cent. Keep searching, keep learning, and who knows, maybe you'll be the next coin collector to strike it rich.